What's up, everybody? Hey, this is Phil from Walmart Right Lane Trucking coming at you. It is Wednesday night. I shut down early again tonight, more out of necessity than desire. Yeah, I had about an hour left on my drive time, right around 55 minutes, but it would have been a stretch to get to the next area where I could stop. And I just felt this is a good spot to stop. So let me tell you about my day. Last night I left you. I was at State Line on the way to Las Vegas. Vegas, baby. And I was going to a Walmart facility. It looks like it's run by somebody else, but Walmart facility that we take our claims trailers to. They're in North Las Vegas. So I got there and pretty easy check in. You go all the way down, you go through Vegas. So if you're coming in from the south heading north on I-15, you just keep on going through all the way downtown and you get over towards the north side of Vegas, over by the Speedway basically, and Nellis Air Force Base. That's where our facility is. Matter of fact, it's like not even a half a mile from Nellis Air Force Base. So, yeah. So that's why you see that show at the beginning. That is there at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. I've actually been on base there when I was with that group that I rode with in Nevada, the Southern Nevada Hog. Southern Nevada Harley Owners Group, or SNHOG, SN Hog. They participate in a charity fundraiser on an annual basis, and it's called Nation of Patriots. Nation of Patriots is a ride that started with somebody that wanted to raise money for wounded veterans. And what they do is they send one U.S. flag out on Harleys, and they have a route that goes, and sometimes it's go to the East Coast, go down, and then back around the West Coast, and then up back to Milwaukee. Sometimes it goes the other direction. So what they do is they hand it off from one Harley group to another Harley group, to another Harley group, to another Harley group, until it makes its way through the continuous 48 states. So we participated in that event, and we raised money for wounded veterans. If you raise more than, I think it was $1,000 in your area, that money stays locally. So all money that you raise stays locally. If you raise less than that threshold, then it goes into the national funds, and then they distribute the money to veterans. But with us, we raised close to $50,000 for wounded veterans, and then we work with the Veterans Association and the Air Force Base there in Las Vegas, and then select participants, or recipients, I should say, recipients of the money. And so we went to Nellis Air Force Base to actually give them the money and some other special gifts. So we had the guest of honors all show up, and we held the ceremony right there on base. It was pretty cool. So some of that money is raised from a golf tournament. Some of it's raised from ticket sales of a giveaway, an auction item. Some of it is just donations. So a lot of it is just the generosity of people giving back to our veterans. So again, thank you guys for doing what you do every day. And I got a show today. That was that little bit that I caught was nothing. They must have launched, I don't know, 20 plus sorties, and they must have been out doing training or doing something, but they were just launching like crazy and going different directions, and then they cut right across the top of our um, Walmart facility there. So it was pretty cool. I didn't get a chance to stay there very long, but long enough to see quite a few of them take off. So when I lived in Oregon and I worked at the Portland International Airport, there was an Air National Guard right across the tarmac, and it was awesome because when they went down to go out and do their exercises and get ready to take off, there's a normal sound of them taking off, and then there's the sound that you need to go outside and watch, and that's when they're coming down, they're screeching down that runway, just feet off the runway, and then they shoot up vertical. It was pretty awesome to watch. So again, these guys are amazing, both men and women. You guys are doing a great job there in Nellis. Thank you. So I got to Nellis Air Force Base, dropped the load, and I didn't have a dispatch yet. So I called, got a dispatch. My system seems to be not communicating very well because I only got half the dispatch, at least on the full system. Now I could see where in the messages, because in our system it goes into a message bank as well as across the tablet, and I only got half. So that half says go back to Colton. So I looked at the messages, and from Colton I have to pick up a trailer and take it back to Sacramento. So from Vegas all the way back to Colton, basically right where I was at the first night when I went down there. I basically went right back to basically that same area. And now that area is an auxiliary lot, is what they called it. It's their, like we do relays, and in Sacramento, that's their relay lot. So loads are going there, and drivers are being dispatched to go in there and pick them up. People ask, hey, what's onboarding like? Why do they have to do such a challenging backing exercise? I'm going to tell you, it's for those kind of lots that you go into that, you don't have much room. So they have a section that is, the trailers are double stacked. Then they have a few other trailers that are just single. But it's tight. It's tight in there. And you have to really cut it hard with to get it in the spots. So I checked in with the security that was there, asset control there, and told him my trailer number. And he said, go ahead and park your trailer. You're empty anywhere in here you want. So I'm looking, and I'm like, this is going to be tight. This is going to be tight no matter which way I go. So I went in to my right, and then I backed it down the aisle and backed it into driver's side to a spot there. Once I got that in, he said, yeah, I found your trailer, but it's behind the other trailer. So that section where I said that they're double stacked, well, my trailer was double stacked behind it. So now I got to move that other trailer out of the way in order to get to my trailer. You would think there's a shifter or somebody there, but nope. We have some tractors in there, so I'm not sure what the functionality is there at that location, because there's tractors parked there. Not very many, but there's half a dozen, more than half a dozen. I think maybe a dozen tractors parked in there. So there were some day cabs and some sleeper cabs. So it's a mix. So I'm not sure what that facility really is, but in that area, right over in the Colton area, is where we have several different locations. So I got that trailer and got on road. Traffic through LA. It's not really LA. You're not going through LA. You're in Colton, and then you're heading from Colton, from that location. I got on I-10. Because that's what is right there, I-10. And you take I-10 back to the Pomona Freeway, 57 Freeway, and then you take from there the 210, and you catch the 210. So you're kind of staying out of LA, and yeah, so it's not like you're going through LA. You're going through kind of more towards Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Rialto, those kind of places, but you're not necessarily going downtown LA, which is good. But I'm going to tell you, this might sound weird. I enjoy traffic a little bit more than just going down I-5 when it's just straight and there's nothing else to do. Because you have to be on your game. You have to be on your game. You have to be paying attention to traffic in front. You have to watch traffic to your left. You have to watch traffic to your right. If you're in one lane over from the far lane, you got traffic going every which way. And the engineers are obviously not truckers in California. Well, at least some of these places. Because they're trying to make the highways wider to accommodate more lanes of traffic flow, which make the lanes smaller. Which, if you're going straight, it's still tight, but it's doable. Start adding curves to it, and they still didn't make the lane any bigger. It's a challenge keeping that 53-foot trailer in that lane and going around. So it keeps you on your toes, it keeps you alert and paying attention. Now, does everybody? No. There's people that are drifting this way and drifting that way, and they're on their phone. You know, that's the bad part of driving in a city environment with multiple lanes. And you know that as well as I do. So I got up and over the Tejon Pass and down, and I just kept on trucking. And I got all the way from Colton to Lost Hills. Lost Hills is a truck stop there. I needed fuel. Yes, Walmart drivers will fuel out on road. Mind you, I put in fuel when I was in Porterville yesterday. Drove all the way to Vegas, drove all the way to Colton, and now I'm heading back. And I'm not going to a DC per se. I'm going to a .com facility. It's one of our facilities, but they don't have fuel there. And Sacramento doesn't have fuel. So wherever I'm going to go, I'm going to need to get fuel before that. So I could have went up a little bit further, then got fuel, but I figured I'd just stop here, get a full tank, and we'd be good. So I always try to fuel at the DC. And they'll tell us that too. They'll be like, they're trying to press it. Hey, you got to fuel at the DC. You got to fuel at the DC. Well, if you don't send me to the DC, I can't fuel. And even yesterday when I put fuel in Porterville, we had gotten a notice saying that the pumps were down in Porterville. And as I'm getting ready to leave, after getting my paperwork, I asked one of the mechanics, hey, is the fuel pump still down? He said, no, I think you could still use the fob. So I went over there, and there's a gentleman that does the hostling in the yard. He's over there. So I'm figuring, okay, I guess the pump on that side's good because they're doing work on the other pump. And I pull up behind him. He doesn't know how to use the fob. Get him going. Then I pull up. I got a full tank. So sometimes you just got to investigate yourself. So sometimes those messages are good. Sometimes the messages, not so much. So you got to just, you know, if it wasn't, I would have had to fuel last night, maybe into Tehachapi when I was in Tehachapi, which it is what it is. Sometimes the fuel pumps are going to be down. Sometimes you go in there and they're fueling the fuel pumps, meaning the Flying J tankers are there and they're fueling. So guess what? You can't fuel while they're doing that because they got to reconcile how many gallons they pump in and everything else. So you can't fuel there. So you're going to have to fuel outside of the DC sometimes. So it's just the way it works. So save the receipt, turn in the receipt, you're good to go. So I got all the way to a rest stop just past Kettleman City. is where I'm overnighting tonight. I thought about going just a little bit further, and when I say a little bit further, about another 45, 50 miles. I had 55 minutes left. It would have been pushing it. It would have been pushing it, and it's not a truck stop. There's a Denny's there. There's some other things there, but yeah, I just didn't want to push it to that location. It really wasn't going to give me. I mean, it'd give me some more miles, but it is what it is. As it is, I got 536 miles today. I'm just shy of 1,600 for the 3 days. So with yesterday's 548, today's 536, and Monday was 497. So not a bad week on mileage goes. I'm going to have to go in and do some editing because the time clock system wasn't working, so I got to review that. But yeah. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, couple things. The Tejon Pass, and it is a long upgrade, and then there's a series of downs and then ups and then down, then ups. And when you're towing a load like I am tonight, you're going to go slow. And you got to be prepared for those. There's 4 lanes going up that pass. And the really slow trucks are in the far right lane. And then the next lane to that, or the number 3 lane, would be the next slowest amount of trucks. Now, California has so much as said that they want trucks to stay in those 2 lanes going over this pass. Now, what happens if you're empty and you're going 55, 60? They're going to pass you, right? And a lot of times they're going to pass you in the number 2 lane or the second one from your left, or second one from the left shoulder. And so you got to watch out for that. But you're coming up at 40 and the other traffic is going about 30 or 25. And then they're trying to pass that guy that's going 15, and they just pull right out in front of you, and you're like, oh my goodness, did you just do that? I was coming up. I know I'm not coming up 55 miles an hour, but I'm coming up. And you pulled out right in front of me I hate that. Okay? I get it. You don't want to go 25. But you're going to stop somebody that's going 40 or 45 up the hill. That's not the right way to do it. That's not right trucker etiquette. I get it. You wanted to get out there, and now you're forcing that driver that you just cut out in front of to either really slow down to 25 or 30, and then chug it up the rest of the way, because once you're down to 30, you really can't get any more momentum. You're trying, but it just won't go. And if you're driving a manual transmission and you're on that, shifting those gears, you're gonna risk losing anything, right? You don't want to shift the gears going uphill, and once you get up the hill, you've got to get to that crest and then get in the right gear before heading down the hill, so that you're not downshifting or trying to downshift down the hill. You want to get in the lower gear. That's a challenge when you're doing manual. Now, when you're doing automatic, unfortunately, these automatics don't have the get up and go. It's easier to upshift and downshift because it's just on the lever, and it'll do it. But it doesn't have the gusto to get back up to speed once it's been brought down. So don't do that. So the other thing I want to talk about, and I know people have talked about this before, is truck stop etiquette. All right, so I pull in this truck stop, and I'm pulling in, I'm making my right turn. There's a guy that was parked in a stall, kind of facing the fuel pumps. And I saw him moving forward. He parked and then wanted to go get fuel later. Why wouldn't you have gotten, well, I get it. Why wouldn't you have gotten fuel and then parked? But now he's pulling out and he's going to the one fuel island that's wide open. All right, great. Well, there's another fuel island that is open, kind of, because the trucker in front that was just in that island had pulled up and parked. So I pulled in behind. I fueled my tanks. I put my def in, and I'm thinking I had to put quite a bit in. This guy's going to be coming out before I'm done. Looking around, I'm done. Nope. Now I'm thinking, do I do what Murphy's Law is going to come in. I really have to use the facility as well, right? I have to use the bathroom. And I got to get my receipt. So I don't want to go in and then he comes out. I don't know who's the driver of that truck. He comes out and leaves, and now I look like the idiot that's stuck in the fuel island that just went in and didn't pull forward all the way. So I couldn't hold it. He wasn't coming. So I went in, used the restroom, washed my hands, went got my fuel receipt, came back out. The guy's still there. And he's not even in the truck. Nowhere around. I go back in. I look again. I'm asking people, hey, are you this driver of this truck? And I'm naming the name of the company. Nobody's owning up to it. And so I go back out. And I go and look inside. Maybe he's inside. I just didn't see any lights on. Nope, not in there. So I go back in, talk to management. Hey, can you page the driver of such and such company? Tell him to move his truck. And then I go back out and I'm waiting there. And this guy comes out and I'm not in my truck. I'm out watching the door to see if somebody's going to be coming. And he finally comes with all his little goodies. Hey, you can't take that long. Can't go shopping for hours while people are in here. I mean, I literally was there. Let's see. I'll tell you how long I was there. Hold on. I was there. Give me a second. Off duty. Okay, I guess I'm exaggerating this a little bit. But even still, 17 minutes. 17 minutes. And 10 of it was waiting on him. It's not that long. I'm over dramatizing it. But don't leave your truck for that long. Go park and then shop. I mean, I get it if you got to go to the bathroom. But other people are going to come in behind you. You can't be in the store for that long. Common courtesy. And if you're pulling out of a parking spot and going right to the fuel island, maybe you should yield to traffic that's coming in and getting off the street rather than forcing your way into a fuel island without even looking to see if anybody else is coming. Just saying. Obviously, truck stop etiquette number 2, 3. This is probably one of the most important ones. When I got up this morning, I had trash in my truck. And I wanted to get rid of it. What do? Open the door, roll down the window, just chuck it outside? No. Somebody's got to pick that up, right? I opened up the window. I looked outside. I'm like, hey, there's a trash can right there. Novel idea, right? And if there wasn't a trash can right there, I would have walked it over to the fuel island if I really wanted to get rid of it that bad at that point. If not, just take it with you, dump it when you can into a trash can. Not on the side of the road, not when you're parked somewhere else, into a trash can. Use the trash cans. That's what they're for. 4-ways when you're backing. Always put your 4-ways on when you're backing. If somebody's backing and you're in there waiting, turn off your headlights or turn off the headlights. You can leave your running lights on, but turn off the headlights. That way they're not blinding them at night. During the day, it's not such a big issue, but at night, it can be a big issue. Once you get in your spot, try to get your headlights off as quickly as possible, because maybe somebody's across from you and you're blasting them with your headlights. Right? So sometimes I'll turn off my headlights when I'm backing. That way my swing, when the nose swings around, I'm not blasting the person in front of me. The rest of my lights are on. My 4-ways are on. Everybody can see that I'm backing. Get in there and back in. Now, if you're not quite straight all the way, get back as far as you can. If you see traffic, wave them through. Let them get through, and then do your pull-ups, and then back in the rest of the way. Don't hold up everybody else. They're trying to get off the clock too. Right? They're either trying to go to lunch, they're trying to get off the clock, they're trying to do something. So be courteous as not to hold them up very long. Now, the other thing is, I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube. And this will be something that somebody films, right? You see these ones that this guy's having a hard time, or this guy hit somebody, or something like that. If you see somebody's having a hard time, don't pick up your camera and start filming. Get out and help them. Get out and help. Ask them, hey, would you like me to help you spot this? I can give you a guide if you're having a hard time. But getting out your phone and filming it, and I know I filmed one a while back, and I regretted that, right? It was not probably the right thing to do. So, get out and help. Now, if that person was really getting close to something, I would have got out and helped. I wouldn't have been filming. Wide open parking lot. It was a lot different situation. But if he or she is trying to back in between somebody, especially if they are like by my tractor, I'm getting out. I do not want to have to fill out any accident reports because I sat in my truck and watched somebody hit me. Right? The horn is not going to do it. So be careful. Be safe. Help each other out. Truck stop etiquette. Driving hills etiquette. Don't pull out in front of somebody when they're coming up the hill. Slowing them down. Try to get over as soon as you can. Let them by. The people behind you by. That type of thing. All right. For Phil from Walmart, Right Lane Trucking. Talk to you tomorrow.